It is my pleasure to welcome you here this afternoon for the launch of The Proud to Be, Writings by American Warriors, Volume 3.
We wanted to make sure that there was a written record of history written by the people who were there, and I think we've done that. This third volume, it's hard to say which one's my favorite, but this one has a special place in my heart.
Working with all the different veterans is just phenomenal because as with any of us, everyone is different, and each veteran's story is different.
I wanted to say to the Missouri Humanities Council, the Warrior Arts Alliance, and Southeast Missouri State University Press, you gave us a chance to be heard, and in so doing gave us back our voice. That's all we warriors, and the rest of the world too, really wants. I thought I was one of the lucky ones, an aviator. I never actually was in Vietnam. My black humor reminded me. I just flew over, let loose, and waved. I did this 63 times, my log says, and that makes over 3 million pounds of shrapnel I left in the ground of Vietnam, and surely many unknown pounds into the human flesh of Vietnam too. Over the years, it has been a heavier and heavier burden to bear, which only tells me I can no longer successfully ignore my past. But it's been very therapeutic for me to be able to express myself and to have people actually read it and understand my experience. War makes us all suffer, no matter what we do, isn't it so? It's very easy for us to become invisible. So this event is a way for us to become visible. And I think that's not only good for veterans and people in uniform, but it's also good for the country to know the price of what they take for granted.
You know, it's a lot of people that doesn't know about veteran issues, and here we are just exploring it in a good way, of course, and just getting our works out there.
It was the summertime, 1986, and I, along with 2,200 other Marine reservists, was involved in a live fire combined service exercise on the Army post Fort Carson in Colorado.
The men and women who put on their uniforms and went to do what they thought was an honorable thing did just that.
You will tell yourself that you're brave. It's the only thing to do while trembling in the dark of night in a bomb shelter, praying for one more day or even two.
Soldiers need to have this voice, and people need to hear these words. And they're difficult words, they're humorous words, but they're words of this generation. The day it happened, I was called by a friend whose unit brought Brady to the field hospital. He said Brady was a slab of meat on the operating table, unresponsive, shot in the head. At the same time, on another line was his fiancée. And on another line was his mother. Now all I can think to write is, I'm sorry about your face, brother. I truly am. Thank you. The story is personal and pretty intimate, but it's a story that I thought was important that people hear.
The essay is about my godson, Jonathan, who served tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. And, my prayer is that other veterans will read it and also share with their families. It's been helpful. It's been a helpful release for him to move forward. This peculiar sharing experience has created an unbreakable bond between Jonathan and me. And it made my heart ache for all of the soldiers who had gone to war. In this generation, in the previous generation, and in the generations that we all know are yet to come. It's been a real honor for me to have been selected, and it's just been a great opportunity for me to come and to share.
There's a camaraderie here that I haven't felt since I've come back from my deployment, and I'm ecstatic to meet these great people who have done great and wonderful things, and it's amazing to have a community again.
I watched as some soldiers moved to the memorial and others left the square.
Still others held each other, tears flowing freely, giving voice to their grief. I was thrilled to actually be accepted into this volume. And I must have read the acceptance letter at least 4 times before I told anybody else.
I myself am not a veteran, and I'm really glad that Susan and the Missouri Humanities Council opened this up to veterans' families. Jimmy was duly awarded the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star for being a hero in action in Vietnam, the medal closest to the Medal of Honor from Lyndon B. Johnson. The worst you can do is just not talk about it, Jimmy said.
This has been a really great experience. It's been a great outlet sometimes for some things you just can't always say.
Gravity was especially cruel, pulling hard on the nearly 5 pounds of each advanced combat helmet adorned with tactical lights, D-rings, paracord, camo bands, photos of wives and babies, and night vision goggles, commonly referred to as nods. I was proud of my boys tonight. Their spacing was perfect, and despite all of the obstacles, we were moving silently through the palms toward our objective.
Other veterans who have read my stuff, they all enjoy it. They say they can relate to it.
Being part of this event has been very important to me. I was published last year and had the opportunity to come and do this and do the Writers' Conference. I joined the Army a broken 17-year-old girl needing to escape herself, then undiagnosed borderline personality disorder, major depressive disorder, and anxiety and panic disorders. Left unmedicated, devastated my psyche. Yes, I've had some people come up and thank me for talking about, especially the mental illness portion, having just a little bit of a different perspective on it. I don't recognize the person I was then, and I distance myself from her. And what the Missouri Humanities Council has done for us as veterans is just, it's amazing, and we're very grateful. Year after year, people are able to express things that they haven't been able to talk about. And one of the best things that people can do who have these traumatic experiences is to talk about it or write about it, and then come together in a group like this and speak with other people who understand, and that is so important.
I'd like to thank all the participants for just making this happen. It really means a lot for us veterans just to have a voice, for us veterans and families of veterans. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Me as a veteran, it allows me to express myself thoroughly. It's very therapeutic to get out here and meet fellow veterans who go through the same thing. No one understands my plea, my cries, but my fellow vets. Thank you.
I'm grateful and thankful that the Missouri Humanities Council is doing something like this, you know. Of the D Company of 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment, only 6 of the initial 187 men who began the war in the night jump over Normandy survived. It's been a moving experience. I felt a strong, how should I put it, emotional response to many of the stories.
We've had veterans from World War II, as we did today. We've had veterans from the Korean War, Vietnamese War. We've had veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan, and they all have different stories. We've had some who were in service for a long time, some who were in service for a short time, and then tried to go back into the world. All of the different stories make quite a variety in these anthologies. Each one of these volumes has had to go into a second printing. The first one won the Stars and Flags Award for Best Military Anthology in 2012. And usually we sell out of the books pretty quickly.
Humanities Council it's so big sometimes we forget all that it can touch. And in a word, I love to be reminded that humanities enhances the human experience. And this certainly has lived up to that.
It's really been a very special event. Yeah, it means a lot. And the Missouri Humanities Council is one of the few places that's allowing this to happen or encouraging this to happen. So I can't say enough how grateful I am for their encouragement and their support.
They have given me a voice because they're willing to listen.
I can still fire, still fight, still make a contribution, still support my squad. I am not out of it yet.
Thank you to all of our presenters. Thank you for your voices. Thank you for those who have served their families, and thank you to those who are serving.